New patch, same BS. I really want to love this game, but this gets me mad every time. Alright, so we found another beam attack after patch, which is nice. We haven't really talked about the beam attack yet. I actually had my first perfect dodge against a beam attack recently, and the way I went about it was basically I dodged to the right, and I waited for the beam attack to basically get as close, like, picture the card effects or the Hive Tyrant ramming attack, you know, when they rush you. Picture perfect dodging that and then apply it to the beam attack. It's essentially the same thing. The closer they are to you, the better chances your perfect dodge, you know, the better chances you get a perfect dodge. Now, this is definitely, you know, it's not the easiest thing to trigger the perfect dodge on the beam attack because obviously it moves a tad bit faster than the Hive Tyrant or the Carnifex rush attack, you know. But still, that's a pretty good way to get the basics of it. It's basically going to rush at you, the beam attack's going to rush at you, and you can dodge pretty much. I dodge to the right. Even though I haven't tried dodging forward, I bet you that still works as well. But yes, you can definitely perfect dodge the beam attacks now. It's not like impossible hard. I would say it's basically weird. You just need to get used to it. But the issue is I haven't been running into that many beam attacks. So it's been kind of weird to practice. I do believe I have it. Oh no, it was on a tactical that I was just leveling up, I believe. Regardless. We are talking about the beam attacks. Are they easier to deal with now? Are they still a pain? I do have a clip here of somebody being very mad about it, obviously. All right, let's get into the clip. Let's see if it was avoidable or not. It's, you know, it's a beam attack, so it's going to be hard to avoid regardless. All right, the breath attack hitbox for both types of thropes is still broken. All right, so, okay, so first of all, this clip is painful to watch. But I'm going to have to push back on that. Both types of thropes is still broken. I've been able to reliably dodge the Neurothrope beam attack for pretty much the entirety of the game's lifespan. Devs, come on, help a brother out here. Nah, this is rough. Honestly, that honestly could have almost... Oh, no, see how they do the... No, okay, so here's the thing. It looks like they go for the dodge at the right time? Oh, no, not really. It's still kind of far away from them. Oh, that's rough. They're like... They're pretty much like a car length away from the beam attack and where they're dodging. See, basically right here, if you didn't start dodging yet, you should be able to perfect dodge this. But he dodges a little bit too early. That said, obviously he was outside of the hitbox. Okay, that's crazy. that's so frustrating. Hey, at least the damage isn't too bad. Here's the thing. The Neurothrope's beam attack isn't as bad as what we're seeing here. This should have been fixed months ago. They did nerf it months ago, right? They did nerf the beam attacks. Yeah, so the Zoanthropes definitely have an issue with their hitbox. I will definitely concede that point. That's just been a fact. But this dodge is just a tad bit too late. Yeah, see, like, obviously he wouldn't get damaged here if the hitbox was fixed. I get that. But for the instance of perfect dodging, this beam attack needed to be a little bit closer. Just for a heads up. That said, I still don't think the Neurothrope's beam attack is as bad as this, so let's separate the two. The Zoanthrope's beam attack is much worse, for whatever reason. I don't know why. It is nice that they gave us the option to perfect dodge these. But here's another thing I'm gonna have to push back on this clip about. The ping. The ping is in red here. I'm genuinely not surprised a clip like this is, you know, possible with ping like that. I mean, frankly, they were probably having rough times with hitbox issues the entire time. But also, I want to say, I've been in operations with ping this bad, and there wasn't anything this egregious when it comes to a bad hitbox, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't anything this terrible to watch. Dude, that's rough. That's rough. He was actually kind of close to the perfect dodge, I believe. If this is the case with the beam attacks, should we really just go for perfect dodges anyway? Because it's like, it's gonna hit you anyway, you know what I mean? So just go for the perfect dodge, and then, you know, that's your best case to get out of it. Yeah, it was just a tad bit late for the perfect dodge. It was just a tad bit late. Hey, you know what, though? They did get this, the zone throw down, which is nice. So, there's that. But alright. Let's go in the comments. Let's see if anyone has any experience with perfect dodging on the zone throw to see if, you know, this was in any case avoidable, but I gotta be honest, this is a pretty rough beam attack. The balancing on this game is its biggest flaw, in my opinion. Alright, I'm not going to sit here and pretend the zoanthrope beam is a part of their intended balance, alright? And not to mention, I don't think the beam attack is a very good representation of the balance in the game right now. Actually, the game's balance is in a good spot right now. I'm having a great time with the game, trying out a whole bunch of different perks, and it seems like you can find a use for practically anything now. And I would put the game in a good balance state. I would think the game's in a good balance state just merely due to the fact that you can actually make more things work now because of the perk reworks and the power fist buff, which is really nice. But obviously the zone throw beam attack's a problem. We've been talking about it for quite a bit. Don't let that clip fool you to think every beam attack is that terrible. The hitbox to that attack was obviously like bad, right? And it's always, the zone throw beam attack is bad, but that player did have bad ping as well. So we could definitely make that beam attack a little bit more approachable without that ping. I would admit that for sure. Like that's just a fact. Bad ping equals bad hitbox. But what we saw there, it's bad hitbox plus bad ping equals even worse hitbox. That's the clip we just saw. And I honestly, as far as the beam attack's balance goes, if it didn't double tap, if it didn't like beam attack and then do another beam attack, even with the hitbox, the balance for the beam attack would be fine. And I've been saying this since everyone, you know, started freaking out about the beam attacks is, hey, if it's bugged, nerf it to the ground. If you get hit by it, you get hit by it, but at least it's not going to one-shot you. You know what I mean? You shouldn't get one-shot by bugged attacks, you know? So, like, obviously that needs to be adjusted. But the beam attack has been nerfed. It's not really that big of a deal to get hit by it. It kind of can be because it stuns you, which is rough. It's still a pain. Don't... I just, you know, I've been playing a lot of sniper, so it's hard for me to really, you know, muster up the rage for a beam attack right now. But yeah, that hitbox was pretty frustrating to watch. I can imagine how frustrating it was to deal with. But don't let that beam attack trick you into the balancing of this game is bad. That's kind of crazy. This comment has a lot of upvotes, by the way. It seems like there's actually a fair amount of people kind of freaking out about the game right now, which is kind of crazy. But I'll save that for a different video. Nerf stuff, whatever. But if you're going to nerf us, nerf the enemy too? Okay, but, like, here's the thing. That clip doesn't mean that every enemy needs a nerf, or the fact that they nerfed grenade launcher doesn't mean that every enemy needs a nerf. Like, I don't know. I just need to push back on this a little bit. That doesn't seem very reliable as far as, you know, overall balancing. But, like, still, I understand what they're getting at. And they did buff snipers in a sense, so it's kind of like, just have a sniper on your team and zone throws won't be an issue. I'm kidding. There's a lot of times where people don't realize when I'm kidding. I've definitely read some comments that were pretty frustrated at jokes that I've said before. But okay. It's fine. It's just the zone throw beam attack hitting players with a 2 times expanded hitbox that is insane to deal with. No, seriously, yeah, I've been saying since the beginning, the zone throw beam attack should be nerfed into the ground if it doesn't work correctly. The more they crap on any weapon that does even a bit of decent damage, the more the game feels like a drag with enemies tanking a whole mag. This person either doesn't have a good build, doesn't have a good weapon, or at least doesn't have a weapon leveled up. Because, dude, I've been absolutely destroying things in this game recently. The plasma incinerator is what you need. That weapon is insanely powerful. What feels like a drag with enemies tanking a whole mag. Well, they don't tank a whole mag of Neo-Volkite, I'll tell you that much. And they don't tank a whole mag of the heavy bolt rifle, or the heavy bolter, or the melta. So, sorry. Like, this type of generalization is what makes me not take comments like this seriously. This has 77 upvotes, and I'm already kind of like reviewing this comment in a negative fashion because it's like, it's not really about the zone throw beam. They're just here to complain about tanky enemies because, I don't know, like, do they understand you can level up a weapon? All right, that's too harsh. That's too harsh. But that said, I just don't share the same sentiment here with the enemies tanking a whole mag because I've been destroying enemies since the patch on the highest difficulty. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to go into Absolute with a Artificer Plasma Incinerator just to show off to this guy that, hey, you know what? There's some strong weapons in this game. Maybe you should try them. All right, well, let's continue on to the comment. Also, to say they nerfed ammo spawn in higher difficulties, so enemies take more bullets and bullets are found less. Right. Sorry, dude, like, this, I can't believe this comment has so many upvotes, dude. Like, this has to be people who are just frustrated with the game for whatever reason. But enemies are not that tanky anymore, dude. They didn't even increase the health from lethal to absolute, so they have the same health. This guy strictly uses the auto bolt rifle and strictly uses it for body shots, and he's talking about enemies tanking a whole mag. That's like the only way I could honestly take this seriously, because it's like, dude, I haven't seen an enemy tank a whole mag for quite a bit, dude. I just don't think this guy's making his build correctly. Yeah, I don't know. This is a bad comment. Like, they nerfed the grenade launcher. That's all. They didn't even nerf that many things. What? If anything, actually, even with the recent patch, they buffed more than they nerfed. What it? Oh, sheesh, dude. Fun fact, dodge into it. There you go. No, really, the hitbox is that easy to avoid by dodging towards it. Now, this doesn't fix the fact that it's broken, but it still does elevate it. Okay, so this is basically how you would want to dodge the beam attack, but I'm not 100% sure if dodging towards the beam gives you the perfect dodge. So let me know in the comments if you have been able to trigger the perfect dodge with a gun strike on the zone thrope by dodging towards the beam, which honestly should be the preferred way to do it since it is easier to avoid by dodging towards the beam. Reason being, the beam tracks, so when you dodge towards it, you are basically getting away from the beam's trajectory, basically. It's going forward, you're going towards it, you are basically crossing past with it, and it's going by you. 100% should have been fixed ages ago. The line, I think, should travel horizontal to force players out of cover or position to give you plenty of time to get out of the way, or give the option to perfect dodge the beam in its current state. The hitbox is too much. Okay. This was... What? This was a comment made 12 hours ago, and they didn't know that you could perfect dodge the beam. So... Okay. Okay. This is a weird spot for the beam attack conversation, because I agree. I agree the beam attack should have been fixed, but the comments we are getting under this post just seem like people who are out of touch with the game. It's really weird. Like, there's a lot of people here who are just like complaining about the nerfs, and it's like, what nerf did we get that stopped us from dealing with zoanthropes? I mean, even if the grenade launcher was fine, the grenade launcher is a pretty tough shot against a zoanthrope. The zoanthrope is in the air and just like dodging, you know, just slowly moving up and down. I don't think 90% of these commenters can hit a zoanthrope with one grenade from the grenade launcher. Like, seriously. This legit says, or give the option to perfect dodge the beam in its current state. This has 10 upvotes. And he's objectively wrong. Like, this is... We can perfect dodge the beam. What are you talking about? Like, oh my god. Dude, this is rough. This is a new post. Like, I swear this is a new post. This is weird. This is definitely weird. Some of, like, it's so crazy. It's like the people who have been actually committed to getting better at this game, they're having a great time with this patch. But the people who jump in and out of the game expecting it to be easy are over here just absolutely flaming the fact that we are getting nerfs in this game. And why nerf in the game if I'm bad? Like, that's basically the comment here. Or why nerf in the game if I don't know what I'm doing? That's more accurate. I won't say these players are bad, but they don't know what they're doing at the very least. This is crazy. This makes me think, hey, you know what? Maybe the beam attack is fine. If players are still complaining about, like, enemies being too tanky, and, like, dude, seriously? Like, that's insane. They nerfed 2 things. Well, they nerfed like 3 things, but I really don't consider the Vanguard's healing an issue at the moment. I still want to play some Vanguard, but I was looking at the Vanguard's perk setups. Vanguard is doing a lot of damage right now, so I think that's fine. I think Vanguard is fine. The bugs are one thing. The bugs for Assault and Vanguard, that's one thing. But the beam attack is something that we've been talking about for a bit, and yes, it should have been fixed. The hitbox should have been fixed. The clip we just saw, they had high ping, so I think a lot of people didn't notice that, and they're kind of freaking out about it. But yeah, this guy didn't even know you could perfect dodge the beam, and he's over here complaining. And I feel like a lot of the comments I'm reading have this sort of energy where it's like, do you guys know what you're doing? Do you guys play the game? Like, they seriously want every enemy to get like 1 or 2 shot and just the game to be easy. It's like, dude, there is an easy mode. Like, holy cow. And then they added the ability to take the data that you get from the game, like from playing the operations, to transfer them into higher tier data to upgrade your weapons. So you can play minimal, and it will be a grind, but you can play minimal and still get purple points to upgrade your favorite weapon. So it's interesting. I think the game's in a great spot, but some of these players just get so frustrated by perceived skill issues, which is not a card I like to play, but like, come on. Like, you could definitely perfect dodge the beam attack. I won't say missing the patch notes is a skill issue, but they can definitely know more about the game. They don't know enough about the game to give a valid opinion on balancing. I have to be honest. But they did. Now when you perfect dodge their beam attack, you get to gun strike them. This is an easy and totally consistent thing that can be done. Sarcasm. All right. I think they have a point with the easy part. It is consistent. If you get the hitbox for the dodge, for the perfect dodge for the beam attack, I guess as long as you have good connection, you should still, you should land that perfect dodge. It is the same hitbox for the perfect dodge, pretty much for like anything that really travels towards you. Like, if you were to perfect dodge the Carnifex rush attacks, the next step is to perfect dodge the zone throw beam attack. It's essentially the same strategy. Yeah, it's not easy. I will agree with that. It's not the easiest thing in the game, but it is more consistent than you think it is. Definitely let me know your experience with beam attacks in the comment section. I promise I won't be flaming anybody in the comment section as I've been flaming some of these comments. Some of these comments are just bad. This one's fine. There's having a concern with how easy and consistent the perfect dodge on the beam attack. That's a perfectly viable emotion to have because of the reputation the beam attack has for its broken hitbox. So it's kind of interesting to, perfect dodge around it. But I'm just saying, if you perfect dodge the Carnifex running attacks, or the Hive Tyrants like rush attacks, you can perfect dodge the Zoanthrope beam attack. Just, you can practically practice on the Hive Tyrant or the Carnifex for your beam attack dodging techniques. Like, it can be done. It can be done, and it is consistent. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'll give you that one. You have a high ping warning. I think with low ping, this doesn't happen. I can consistently dodge them when I'm in local lobbies. Interesting. That's okay. That's actually that's a good note. I'm gonna have to keep track of that. But similarly to Armored Core 6 PvP, hey! It's so funny that we get, like, references to games that I've played on this channel quite often, like Elden Ring and Armored Core 6 actually comes up pretty often. Elden Ring more, but Armored Core 6 PvP, getting a call out here is kind of crazy. But similar to AC6 PvP, if anybody has played, the lag really exacerbates the hitbox and stuff like this happens. Yeah. But that's From Software, and as we're all watching with the From Software Night Rain network test, From Software has probably the worst connection in the gaming space at the moment. So comparing the Zone Throw beam attack to a From Software game is kind of interesting, but that doesn't go throughout the entire game. That's one attack that has a bad hitbox. Everything else is actually pretty crisp as far as connection. And you know what? I actually got to give credit to Saber. I got to give credit to the devs here for the connections that they are actively trying to make better. They're trying to take steps forward with the connections in the game. I had like 1 or 2 connection problems yesterday with signing into Space Marines 2 and just like getting a game. Like I'll get into a game, but then it will just send me right back to the battle barge. So yes, I'm aware. Connecting to a lobby is kind of a pain right now, and it hasn't been like that like consistently. I've really only ran into connection problems like here and there. With From Software, you've run into connection problems the entire lifespan of the game if you're playing on multiplayer. Yeah, that's the world I came from when it comes to Space Marines 2. I was dealing with zone throw beam attacks on basic R1 attacks. So you can imagine my tolerance for this stuff is definitely higher than most players. So I just want to give credit to the devs. They did a hot fix recently to help out the connections. I'm still looking forward to trying that out. And yeah, nothing will ever be as bad as From Software online connection. I would take the Zone Throw beam attack over Phantom Range any day of the week.